And we have a live shot of Kalayaan Beach in Palawan, Puerto Princesa in Palawan. Sunrise is looking good over Kalayaan Beach. How long has it been since you've been to the beach, Emeline?
Oh, it's been a long time, Jane.
Been a long time?
But being
well,
from...
a long time is too long.
It's too long, it's too long,
Too
especially
long.
if you're here in the Philippines, because it should be an easy...
Look at that. Doesn't that
easy trip.
kind of tell you to go beach? This
Over
summer,
the
at
weekend, we
least.
can do that.
Yeah.
And we'll not wait for summer for that.
Hey, yeah.
Why
Don't wait
not,
for
diba?
summer. Hit the beach now.
Yeah, if during the weekend.
Today.
And if you'd like, and if, wag naman today.
Hindi,
First
pag
day
walang
of the
trabaho,
week.
pag
Oh,
off
wala
lang.
kang day
Oh.
off. Oo.
Don't make lakwatsa.
But if indeed you've been planning to do so, maybe this image of this
Yeah.
Kalayaan Beach in Palawan is telling you that it's time for you to
Right. Kalayaan
hit
Beach
the
is
road
just
or
one of the beaches
take the
in
plane.
Palawan. There are hundreds or thousands of really nice beaches, not only in Palawan, but all over this beautiful country.
Yeah, so
That's a
this-
sunrise in Kalayaan Beach, Palawan, Puerto Princesa.
But this is
And
our
back to
everyday-
reality.
This is our everyday image.
Yeah, this is Quezon Avenue, corner West Avenue, Quezon City.
And it seems like it's an or normal traffic.
Normal traffic, yeah. Not too much, not too heavy.
But you can really see how everybody doesn't that we don't really follow
Follow the
rules.
lanes.
See how they all like swerve to the left or swerve to the right.
Exactly.
But it seems we've gotten used to that right now.
Doesn't make it right though.
Yes, you're right there. And now
Bad.
that's the image we hope to not see, especially on a Monday.
This is in the Kalayaan area of C5. That's the northbound lane on the right side. You can see the traffic. Well, north and south, same thing. Traffic along
it's a bit
C5.
heavy at this time
Yeah.
of the day.
Heavy at 7 a.m.
So do wake up. It's really time for you to wake up.
And this is our skyline as we see it from the roof deck of the Worldwide Corporate Center along Shaw Boulevard in Mandaluyong. And you can see the sun. I can't see any clouds. Probably the glare from the sun. But this is our skyline. And I woke up this morning, saw the skyline, and as usual, it was full of smog.
But in this image, it seems like it's really
Seems like it's
it's
clear.
really telling you to move on,
Yeah.
go to work or go to school, or if it's your day off today, just enjoy the morning.
Good morning, I'm Jing Magsaysay.
And I'm Amelin Veloso.
Pat Fernandez is in the other studio. She's going to join us from the Solar Weather Center in a little while. You're watching Solar Daybreak on the Solar News Channel. It's February 4, 2013, a Monday. Surely you've heard of the Monday morning blues, that feeling of dread, sadness, apathy, or dreariness associated with starting the work week. Well, that's real for many people. Well, except for most of us in media, where days and hours don't matter anymore because we work 24/7. You can do something to shake it off, do some stretches, get some exercise, eat a good breakfast, and have some caffeine. But just enough to jumpstart your day. And of course, be positive. Accept that a weekend is over and get psyched up for your work week. Don't worry, ilang araw na lang, Friday na ulit. Here's a quote from American writer Samuel Johnson. He said, "If your determination is fixed, I do not counsel you to despair. Few things are impossible to diligence and skill. Great works are performed not by strength, but by perseverance."
Our first photo is from Queen Gaan, a morning photo on one of her vacations in Anawangin Cove in Zambales. Anawangin Cove is a crescent-shaped cove with a pristine white sand beach. What makes the place unique is the unusual riddle of tall pine trees flourishing around its vicinity. Our second photo is a shot of the sunrise in Tagaytay taken August last year. This landscape, shot of one of the coolest areas near the metro, is from Ben Rojas, a hobbyist. Continue sending us your photos at solardaybreak@gmail.com. Let's now check on today's weather forecast from Pat Fernandez. She's at the Solar Weather Center. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Amelin, and good morning to all our viewers this chilly Monday morning. Weather Bureau Pag-asa says there is still no major disturbance inside the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR. However, easterlies will be affecting the eastern section of the country. The easterlies are winds coming from the east to northeast, and this is generally warm and moist. And as you can see in our Metro Weatherscape, generally clear skies will prevail throughout the country with only some clouds hovering over Cagayan Valley, Bicol region, the provinces of Aurora and Quezon, Eastern Visayas, Davao region, and Caraga. This may bring isolated rains and thunderstorms later on in the day. And as I've mentioned earlier, the easterlies will be affecting the country, bringing moderate to strong winds blowing here. So the seaboards along these areas will be moderate to rough. Okay, moving on. As you can see, the seaboards of southern Luzon, southern Visayas, and southern Mindanao will be experiencing strong to gale force wind, and so fishing boats and other small sea craft are advised not to venture out into the sea, while larger sea vessels are alerted against big waves. That's the latest on the weather this morning. Back to you, Jing.
Thanks, Pat. Let's take a look at the banner stories of the major dailies, major broadsheets. Philippine Daily Inquirer, Contra Daya fears glitches in May polls. And a photograph, Pasinaya, students from the Philippine Buddha Care Academy perform a lion dance at the Cultural Center of the Philippines in Pasay City during yesterday's opening of Pasinaya 2013, the biggest one-day festival to preview all CCP shows in music, theater, dance, visual arts, and film. The lion dance represents Chinoy culture, staged before the celebration of Chinese New Year on February 10. And the story on the left-hand side of the front page, Abus, referring to the Abu Sayyaf, of course, Abus freed 2 Filipinos seized with Jordanian. That's the front page of the Philippine Daily Inquirer. Philippine Star right now, Abu versus MNLF, 4 beheaded. Squabble over hostages triggers clash. Sayyaf frees 2 Pinoys, keeps Jordanian. And a photograph on the front page of the Philippine Star, caption reads, dancers perform in a street parade during the Sigay Festival in Binmalay, Pangasinan last Saturday. Sigay is a Pangasinan word which means to harvest from the sea. Binmalay is known as the seafood capital of the north. GMA cleared in Maguindanao massacre on the very top of the front page of the Philippine Star. A Timonan report ready, according to Justice Secretary Laila de Lima. GMA cleared in Maguindanao massacre case, and a photograph with a caption, dancing the tinikling at the CCP. Cultural dancers performed a lively tinikling folk dance in front of an appreciative crowd at the Cultural Center of the Philippine Grounds in Pasay City yesterday during the annual Pasinaya Open House Festival. That's the bulletin front page. Manila Times headline reads, Abu Sayyaf frees 2 Pinoy captives. Cambodia, Myanmar overtake Philippines in FDI flows. How GDP grew 6.6% and why it's hard to repeat. That's the front page of the Manila Times. Manila Standard today, 2 Pinoy TV crew freed by Abu Sayyaf. Terrorists let go of hostages during firefight with MNLF. And that's a photograph of journalist Atiani still in captivity. Palace tells poll agency solve PCOS glitches. Shakedown at Comelec scored is another story on the front page of the Manila Standard. Malaya Business Insight, collusion in power pricing is the headline of the Malaya Business Insight. Tax ringer up for professionals, ICTSI says. Technology answer to port challenges. And the front page of the Business Mirror headline reads, Senate crams to escape FATF blacklist. DSWD groomed as voice of the poor in the cabinet. And that's a look at the broadsheets today. Hamlin?
Thanks, Jing. And now let's check on what's trending this morning. In Twitter, among the trending topics worldwide is Burkina Faso. This after Burkina Faso advances in the semifinals of the African Cup of Nations after beating Togo in an overtime football match. Burkina Faso's most celebrated player, Jonathan Petropa, became instrumental in this win as he headed home a Charles Kabori corner on the stroke of halftime in the overtime. Burkina Faso is set to meet Ghana in the semifinal round. And here in the Philippines, one of the most talked about topics is because of K-pop. Filipinos are talking about things they learned and experienced because of the K-pop invasion in the country. Always Smile tweets, because of K-pop, different people of different nationalities came together as one. While Nazrin says, because of K-pop, our society became disinterested with Malay artists. And in Yahoo, one of the top trending topics this morning is Minami Minagishi. This after Japanese pop star Minami Minagishi shaved her head as a gesture of apology to her band members in AKB48 for breaking their no boys rule. Minagishi was seen on local tabloids dating her dancer boyfriend Alan Shirahama. The pop group observes a strict rule that every member should maintain an image that they are all single.
And let's now have Katrina Domingo for the latest traffic situation along C5 in Kalayaan. Hi, Kat. Good morning.
Good morning, Jing. A brand new week is ahead of us, and those who are still in bed better rise and shine because traffic on a Monday is expected to be rough and tough. Today we are here at C5, and what you see on the right side of the frame is the northbound lane where vehicles coming from Market in Taguig are headed towards Kalayaan in Makati or Bagong Ilog in Pasig, while the left side of the frame shows the C5 southbound lane where vehicles from Quezon City are heading towards Taguig and the South Superhighway. As you can see, this portion of the northbound lane is already dotted with red taillights. Expect this heavy situation to last until Bagong Ilog in Pasig. Flow on the other points along C5 northbound is still moderate, but expect vehicle volume to get thicker in a few minutes. Meantime, the portion of C5 southbound is moving, but Bagong Ilog and Lanuza are already heavy at this hour. Jing, let's head on over to EDSA. EDSA northbound is still smooth sailing, but EDSA southbound will be a challenge for motorists as congestion has already started in Kamuning and trickles down in Nepacumart up to Monte de Piedad. Tituazan and Main Avenue is also problematic at this moment, and the stretch from Shaw Boulevard in Mandaluyong up to Guadalupe in Makati is also heavy at the moment. Jing, traffic in the metro is expected to change drastically over the hour, so we will be back in a few minutes to give you more traffic updates. Jing, Amelin.
Thanks, Kat. It's 7:12. Let's now have Pia Bonalos for the traffic situation along Quezon Avenue. Hi, Pia. Good morning.
Good morning, Jing. It is another Monday morning, and as people are getting ready to go back to work and school, I am here on Quezon Avenue to help you in choosing your route for your morning drive. Here you can see on Quezon Avenue southbound lane, while traffic is generally light, you would be stalled by the U-turn slot in front of Scout Borromeo. For those of you coming from the elliptical road, traffic is moderate going to Agham Road and will ease up on EDSA, and traffic will be light going to Timog all the way to Araneta Avenue and Banawe. For vehicles on the northbound lane, you will be having no problems here on Quezon Avenue as traffic is generally light coming from Banawe, going to Araneta Avenue, Scout Borromeo, Agham Road, and Elliptical Road. Keep your head cool on the road by smiling instead of honking. And that's the latest traffic situation from Quezon Avenue. Jing, Amelin.
Thanks, Pia. It's 7:13. The top stories when we come back. You're watching Solar Daybreak. You're on the Solar News Channel.
and Bello both registered. Sino yung mag-i-intro? Jing, we are here right now at the Nino Aquino International Airport Terminal 3, where we are waiting. Audio.
Let's have a quick look at the headlines. Malacanang says the passage of the Freedom of Information Bill is up to Congress, as President Aquino has no plans of certifying it as urgent. The Commission on Elections is confident the problems experienced during the mock elections will be fixed before the midterm elections in May. The damaged area of the Tubataha Reef is now estimated to be at 4,000 square meters. And the two Filipino crewmen of Jordanian journalist Bakr Atiani, freed by the Abu Sayyaf, are expected to arrive in Manila today. The Commission on Elections admits there are minor glitches in the mock elections conducted over the weekend. Camille Elemia tells us more.
The Commission on Elections says the mock polls conducted last Saturday was successful despite minor glitches. The COMELEC maintains problems encountered will not affect the accuracy of the counting, nor will it affect the elections this May.
No. The mock elections anyway was not really more for the count, no? But more for the testing of the first time. Matagal tayo nagpagpahinga eh. So our machines have been out since 2010. So now, umiinit na yan. Yung sinabi ko naman kaninang umaga eh. Ngayon, umiinit na yan. Definitely insignificant. Kasi yun naman, umpisa lang yun eh. Definitely insignificant. These are not the major. Ang major is actually yung mga kung maraming reject. Diba? Pero ito, nag-umpisa na. Nakita nyo naman, hindi naman rin eh. So umpisa lang, pero nung gumalaw na, tuloy-tuloy na yan. Paisa-isa lang.
The COMELEC says the mock polls are part of the process of streamlining the election system for a problem-free election this May 2013. The COMELEC chose a total of 10 poll areas with 2 precincts for each area for the exercise. These areas include Quezon City, Manila, Iriga City, Bato, Dumaguete City, Santa Catalina, Cagayan de Oro, Initaw, Bongao, Tawi-Tawi, and Buluan, Maguindanao. The list of voters in the mock polls includes the actual registered voters from the selected areas. Minor glitches were observed as early as the initialization period of the PICOS machines. This includes activating the machine and cleaning the data from the machine to ensure no candidate has extra votes. In P. Bernardo High School in Bagong Lipunan and Crame, an error with the thermal paper's thickness ensued. At the UPIS, ballots of the voters were not accepted by the machine. As a standard procedure, the faulty PICOS machine was replaced and sent to COMELEC technicians for repair.
Sinusubo namin ganun, wala. Ayaw pumasok yung...
Ano yung ayaw pumasok?
Yung papel.
Meron tayong allotment per region or per polling place, per polling center, no? On election day, magkakaroon tayo ng mga staging hubs sa mga iba't ibang regions. Ang guarantee natin is replacement within 2 hours.
Some areas, including the UPIS precinct, also experienced slight transmission problems due to signal, but data were eventually successfully sent to the servers. COMELEC admits non-transmission of election returns to designated servers is a major problem, but says they are working on it.
O naman, may konti, pero yung sinasabing transmission, hindi naman ko. Tumitigil ko minsan, depende sa timing. Ang transmission depends on so many things. And that's why this is what we're improving on, yung transmission.
For Brillantes, the only low point in the whole mock election process is the low voter turnout. Despite all these, COMELEC is confident these problems will be solved come election time. But PPCRV Chair Henrietta De Villa believes otherwise. With only 3 months left, De Villa says the COMELEC is not completely ready yet for the upcoming polls. She adds COMELEC should strictly follow their schedule as the country can no longer afford delays. Among the problems in the mock polls, De Villa says, are voters' use of mobile phones and bringing of children in poll precincts. With these, De Villa strongly suggests to COMELEC to designate a holding area for children and to ban use of phones or electronic devices inside poll precincts to avoid vote buying and selling. Camille Elemia, Solar News.
And then Commission's national survey shows a possible split in the 2013 senatorial race between candidates of the United Nationalist Alliance and the Liberal Party. The same survey shows former President Joseph Estrada as the top political endorser. Camille Elemia returns with that story.
The non-commissioned Pulso ng Pilipino survey shows a close race between candidates of the Liberal Party and the United Nationalist Alliance. The survey was conducted nationwide by the Issues and Advocacy Center from January 9 to 17 this year, with 1,200 respondents. Re-electionist Senator Loren Legarda topped the survey, followed by Senators Francis Escudero and Alan Peter Cayetano. They are followed by Representative J.V. Ejercito, Senator Coco Pimentel and Cynthia Villar, Senator Gregorio Honasan, former Senator Miguel Zubiri, Representative Jack Enrile, Nancy Binay, Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, and former Movie and Television Review and Classification Board Chair Grace Poe Limanzares. Ed Malay, director of the center, explains the reasons why the same names rank in surveys. Malay says politics is all about funding.
Si Loren, si Escudero, Cayetano, Ejercito, wala na yan, nakaplanto na yan. Ibig sabihin, nakaset na yan, nakakasa na yan. Why? Because these are the candidates na merong name recall. These are the candidates na merong organisasyon. These are the candidates na merong pera, na merong pondo.
The survey also shows President Benigno Aquino's net approval rating is 45%, scoring the highest among minimum wage earners and among those with annual compensation 301,000 pesos and above. Of all respondents, 32% are satisfied with present conditions in the country, while 50% remain hopeful conditions will get better at the end of President Aquino's term. Despite these positive ratings, the president only comes in second to former President and UNA leader Joseph Estrada as top political endorser. They are followed by former President Fidel V. Ramos with 12 points and Representative Gloria Arroyo with 10 points.
Baka merong negative influence yung name recall. Like for example, sa mga nangyayari sa bansa ngayon, sino sisisihin mo? Normally, command responsibility. Palaging pumapanik doon sa presidente.
More than half of the respondents also believe the suspension of Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia is politically motivated. Same goes with moves to link Pangasinan Governor Amado Espino to Weteng. Malay says results of the survey remain fluid depending on the manner by which these candidates and leaders campaign. Malay clarifies though pre-poll surveys are just a reflection of the perception of the respondents at the time they were conducted, plus influences of media, not the gospel truth. Camille Elemia, Solar News.
Philippine National Police Director General Alan Purisima has ordered checkpoints during the day to enforce the election gun ban. This after reports show most violators were apprehended during the day. Purisima has also ordered police officers in checkpoints to check all kinds of vehicles and not just focus on motorcycles. Earlier, the Commission on Elections imposed a gun ban from January 13 to June 13 to reduce election-related violence. Inform in 100 is Solar News Channel's series of special reports which are aimed at helping voters, you and I, make an informed decision in the May polls. Today, Kimberly Go gives us a look at the groups that will guard the elections. Here's that report.
The people's desire to actively take part in shaping national leadership dates back to the late 50s with the establishment of the Operations Registration Committee. There was rampant vote buying and violence at that time. The committee also helped women assert their right to vote. In the 60s and early 70s, the people behind the ORC formally organized into the Citizens' National Electoral Assembly to exercise the right of suffrage on a wider scale. In October 1983, CNEA and other groups from the church, the business sectors, and constitutionalists banded together to form the National Movement for Free Elections. It is to be the first election watchdog in the country and in Asia. The first ever election NAMFREL monitored was the 1984 Batasan Pambansa election. Its commitment to clean the elections was highlighted during the 1986 snap presidential election.
I am ready to call a snap election.
NAMFREL then was an accredited citizens' arm to conduct manual parallel counts. Over 5,000 volunteers offered their time, energy, and life to preserve the sanctity of the ballot. Ferdinand Marcos was declared winner. NAMFREL's count, however, showed that Cory Aquino was the rightful president.
We spelled the difference. No? We provided the proof, no, to the people na ito yung bilang namin. Hindi pa nga natatapos, ang nakita mo na ang laki na yung lamang. Ubusin mo pa yung natitira. Again, if you look at the Green Hills, the LaSalle Green Hills Gym, it's there. No? They even made a commemorative marker during Cory's death. No? Na ito talaga yung isa sa mga proof na siya yung panalo.
That walkout eventually led to the EDSA People Power Revolt that ousted Marcos and installed Aquino as the country's president. The idea of creating the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting came out in an informal discussion between then Manila Archbishop Jaime Cardinal Sin, COMELEC Chair Heidi Yorak, and Ambassador Henrietta de Villa.
They were in a meeting in the Cardinal's house at the time, and it was a comment that Commissioner Heidi Yorak made. She said, if you count all the loose guns and loose firearms in the country, they would have more loose firearms than our legitimate army itself. So how will you defend for good elections? And then they were brainstorming and they said, you know, we can vote into government, godly people, people who will think of God, who will think of country.
Its main thrust is voters' education. Media accounts indicate a clash between the PPCRV and NAMFREL due to the apparent duplicity of functions. In the end, NAMFREL withdrew its petition for accreditation. NAMFREL says the COMELEC has chosen to deny it access to some data, which they felt defeats the purpose of being a watchdog. PPCRV stood as COMELEC's official citizens' arm. But that may be water under the bridge. PPCRV and NAMFREL are about to work together in 2013. Both groups stress the significant role watchdogs play in the electoral process.
I think as a citizen's arm, you monitor. And when you monitor and when you see something wrong, you have to make this, you have to communicate this as viably as you can, as widespread as you can, so that correct measures can be made.
It's part of the checks and balances. No? There are other institutions, no, that would do that. No? The Senate is there with the Joint Congressional Oversight Committee. You have two congressional committees related to suffrage and electoral reforms in both the lower house and in the Senate. You have citizens group like us, no, and other groups, no, who would participate in legislation and in not only in voters' education. That's why we're moving right now from our task of watchdogs, no, to partners, no, in electoral reform.
COMELEC, on the other hand, says watchdogs are there to keep the agency on its toes.
The main goal of a watchdog is to keep COMELEC honest, they say. They have their groups. They're groups who are able to, because they are presenting a united front, you know, under a banner of a coalition or a group of individuals, who are able to address the COMELEC and to demand certain concessions from the COMELEC.
For the 2013 midterm elections, the COMELEC has accredited 3 citizens' arms. The third group is One Vote, Our Hope movement, organized in February 23, 2009. One Vote has participated in the May 2010 national and local elections. With the presence of NAMPREL, PPCRV, and One Vote, the question now is, can these watchdogs guarantee clean elections?
Yung honest, orderly, peaceful elections. No? Kundi hope as a word itself. No? Meron tayong inaasahan, may pag-asa tayo sa election na to, makikita natin na may pagkakaroon ng bago.
Bottom line is, we complement each other. Kasi there are some areas na hindi nila napuntahan, meron din tayong mga tao doon. So what's important is more of the education, pagbabago sa pag-iisip.
The COMELEC says each citizen's arm has its own job.
Here we're talking about accredited citizens' arms. We have as many of them as there are separate tasks that need to be accomplished.
NAMPREL doesn't see it as a problem as long as COMELEC clearly defines each group's duties. De Villa, meantime, believes the more citizens armed there is, the better. Both COMELEC and NAMPREL, however, still see the election to be tainted with violence.
When they started moving yung automated elections into automated elections, you see a lot of people, no, because they were not familiar with the machine or the system in itself. A lot of them, being Filipinos, no, Magilas, no, try to look for ways and means how to beat the system.
So we think that this will be perhaps marked by a lot of vote buying and violence. Also, we expect to see a lot of online campaigning, both legitimate and on the sly.
PPCRV agrees with COMELEC there will be a lot of vote buying due to the automation of the elections. But despite this, all 3 agencies remain hopeful of achieving credible polls this year. Kimberly Go, Solar News.
Malacanang reiterates President Aquino has no plan to certify the Freedom of Information Bill as urgent as Congress suspends sessions on Wednesday. This despite calls from proponents of President Aquino to certify the FOI bill as urgent. Some lawmakers say a presidential certification may be the only option left to have the measure passed before Congress adjourns. However, Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valtes says the president wants to see a healthy debate on the plenary on the Freedom of Information Bill.
Albay Representative Edsel Lacman has expressed fears a reproductive health law may not be effectively implemented if it is not given the proper appropriation in the national budget. He said that to guarantee that the law will receive proper funding and implementation, RH advocates must support congressional candidates supportive of the measure. We now have on the line RH law's main proponent in the House of Representatives, Albay Representative Edsel Lacman. Congressman Lacman, good morning. Thanks for joining us again.
Jane, good morning, and good morning, Annalyn. Well, that's correct. The reproductive health law, while now enshrined as Republic Act 10354 in our statute books, there are much work ahead to be done by the RH advocates. I could point to 3 major tasks. One is the promulgation of the implementing rules and regulations. 2, surmounting the constitutional issues raised against the RH law before the Supreme Court. There are now about 6 petitions pending there. Then the appropriation as a continuing battleground. And 4, assuring and monitoring the effective and faithful implementation of the RH law. Now, let's start with the promulgation of the IRR. The law is now effective since January 17, 2013. The question is it now enforceable pending the promulgation of the implementing rules and regulations? I submit that it is already enforceable, particularly those provisions which are instantly implementable pending the issuance of the IRR. But in order to obviate any questions on its implementation, it will be best that the IRR should be promulgated within 60 days from the effectivity of the Act or before 18 March 2013. I have no doubt that under the leadership of the chairman of the drafting committee, Secretary of Health, Ona, the implementing rules and regulations will enhance the effectivity and of the implementation of the bill. I'm sure it will not. The law will not be diluted, but we should not put down our guard, because even the most formidable fortress is not impregnable from insidious assaults. We have experienced before that the IRR was used to dilute the essence and effectiveness of the law. This we will have to guard against. Now, with respect to the battle in the Supreme Court, I have no doubt also that we are going to surmount the constitutional issues. We will prevail in the highest tribunal because the Irish law is absolutely constitutional. We make sure that the provisions and intendment of the Act are in harmony with constitutional mandates. The Reproductive Health Act does not violate the right to life. It even protects life. The Act does not infringe on the people's right to health. As a matter of fact, it promotes maternal and infant health. It is not offensive to the freedom of religion because the entire law is complete with protection of religious freedom and respect for religious conviction.
Congressman Lagman.
Yes.
Yes, Congressman Lagman. Let's go to funding. What is the situation when it comes to funding for the program?
Well, for the initial implementation of the law, which is this year, there's no problem with funding because the law assures that the funding for responsible parenting and family health and life in the existing appropriation of the Department of Health and allied agencies will be the one used to initially fund the implementation of the law.
Okay, so since
the possible problem will be in 2014 when we will have to go through the process of appropriation in Congress through the General Appropriations Act. That's why I say that Irish advocates should be able to help elect kindred spirits in Congress, both in the House as well as in the Senate, in order to assure continuing and adequate funding for the law. Otherwise, if there will be no adequate funding, this will be a fossilized policy.
Can't the funds that are going to be used for the first year just be carried over for next year?
Well, no, because there is no automatic appropriation clause for that, unless the General Appropriations Act is not approved for 2014 when there is automatic appropriation. But remember, the same taxes would also supplement the implementation of the law, because the sin taxes, as amended, would earmark adequate amounts for health care services, including reproductive health.
Okay, so you're telling us that there's enough money for implementation for this year, and you have to work on the members of the House of Representatives who are going to get voted, who are going to be voted in on May 13, so that you can be assured of a budget for next year, 2014. But right now, what I understand we're looking at is the IRR and what that's going to be.
Yes, that's correct, the IRR. But I'm sure that it will be in a line now with the essence and core of the measure.
So you're not too worried about the IRR?
No. Okay. I'm not even worried about the Supreme Court cases because they are virtually a compilation of the usual anti-Irish homilies and tyrants.
All right. Congressman Lagman, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Amelin?
Meanwhile, Malacanang says cabinet members who will be bypassed by the Commission on Appointments will be reappointed. Deputy Presidential Spokesperson Abigail Valtes says Justice Secretary Leila de Lima, Social Welfare Secretary Corazon Soliman, and Environment Secretary Ramon Bahay will be reappointed if their appointments are not confirmed. Valtes says they are hoping the cabinet members will continue to address the concerns of the Commission regarding their respective appointments. Meanwhile, Malacanang says they are yet to appoint a replacement for the two commissioners of the COMELEC whose retirement took effect last week. They are also yet to appoint a replacement for Undersecretary Benito Ramos, who resigned from his post as NDRRMC Executive Director. Malacanang confirms President Aquino has certified the National Land Use Act as urgent. Presidential spokesperson Edwin Lacerda says President Aquino on Friday certified the bill as urgent and adds they are hoping that the Senate and the bicameral committee approve the bill before Congress's session adjourns on Wednesday. Ifugao Representative Teddy Browner Maguilat meanwhile commends the president for certifying the National Land Use Act for immediate passage, saying that it may address the disastrous effects of calamities aggravated by poor land use and zoning.
It's 7:42. More news when Solar Daybreak returns. You're watching the Solar News Channel.
That's Mike. 1, 2, 3.
When you're driving long rides and you see that your car is just Yabe.
Tonton Yabe.
I'm with Tonton Yabe, Sales Executive of Aether Customs, to tell us all about it.
Nasa silent ka lang po.
Let's have a quick look at the headlines. Malacanang says the passage of the Freedom of Information Bill is up to Congress, as President Aquino has no plans of certifying it as urgent. The Commission on Elections is confident the problems experienced during the mock elections will be fixed before the midterm elections in May. The damaged area of the Tubataha Reef is now estimated to be at 4,000 square meters. And the two Filipino crewmen of Jordanian journalist Bakr Atiani, freed by the Abu Sayyaf, are expected to arrive in Manila today.
With the the eastern section of the country experiencing isolated rains today. Let's now check on the weather in cities across the nation. Pat Fernandez is at the Solar Weather Center to give us the latest. Hi, Pat.
Hello again, Amelin. We'll be experiencing generally clear skies today with the easterlies just affecting the eastern section of the country, and this will bring some rain clouds over the northeastern part of Mindanao in the afternoon. Now let's check the weather in cities across the nation. In Luzon, Manila, Tagaytay, Calapan, and Lawag will experience some rains today. So male participants of the Lavandero Festival in Mandaluyong wouldn't suffer from the scorching heat this year. And Tuguegarao, Puerto Princesa, and Legazpi will experience some brief rains in some areas. Moving on in Visayas, Tacloban, Dumaguete, and Tagbilaran will have partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms, while Cebu City, Iloilo, and Borongan will just be partly cloudy, perfect for those attending the Salakayan Festival in Miagao, Iloilo until February 10. Moving on down south, the cities of Davao, General Santos, and Zamboanga will be partly cloudy with isolated rain showers and thunderstorms. Cagayan de Oro, Cotabato, and Butuan, on the other hand, will be rainy. And that's the latest on the weather this morning. Back to you, Amelin and Jing.
Thanks, Pat.
At 7:47, authorities now estimate the damaged area of the Tubataha Reef is at 4,000 square meters and will only get bigger the longer the USS Guardian stays in the area. George Cahiles says this report from Puerto Princesa in Palawan.
The Tubataha Protected Area Management Board says each day that the USS Guardian remains on the Tubataha Reef, the damage gets more extensive. From the initially assessed 1,000 square meters of damage, 18 days after the USS Guardian sat aground on the Tubataha Reef, the total estimated damage to the protected area is now at 4,000 square meters. Since the dive season at the Tubataha Reef will start a month from now, the TPAMB fears that the number of tourists that will visit the area will be affected.
Nagwo-worry na nga kami kasi yung site kung nasaan sila, kung saan gagawa sila ng napakalaking operations, salvage operations, is a site where we dive. So marami ng mga dive operators ang nagtatanong ngayon, ito-close ba yung site na yun, mabawasan ba yung dive sites natin sa lugar and all that.
And up to now, there is no definite date or time when the removal operations will start. President Aquino wants to see a time frame of the salvage operation, but the U.S. Navy as well as the task force to Bataha have yet to produce it.
Everything again is weather dependent and dependent on the material condition of the ship. Right now our naval architects and engineers are still refining the plan that's necessary, but this is a very complex and dynamic.
Timelines, of course, we're very dependent on the sea condition. Hopefully by March, magsimula na gumanda ang sea condition dun sa area.
So sir, aabutin pa ng summer. Technically, kung parang ganun yung nakalabas?
Sana hindi na.
Pero posible, sir?
Maaari, oh.
With this, the TPAMB is starting to be impatient as they remain clueless about the U.S. Navy salvage plan.
Alam mo, hinihintay natin kung ano yung buong plano para gawin. Because right now, hindi ko alam kung what that operation will entail.
After several days of delay, the SMIT Borneo has finally arrived here at the Puerto Princesa port, and as you can see, this salvage vessel has a barge that carries the crane and being pulled by a tugboat. And according to the authorities, the delay is caused by the unfavorable sea condition from Singapore going here to Palawan. Task Force to Bataha says the SMIT Borneo will immediately do its work after some procedural checks at the port. However, the Philippine government has yet to formally approve the U.S. Navy salvage plan.
So far, according kay Command, that is approved by principal, so kailangan lang ng further validation by the department.
Once the U.S. Navy gets salvage permit from the Philippine government, the Philippine Coast Guard says the weather and the sea conditions will then be considered in extricating the USS Guardian. From a Coast Guard official who recently joined the operations at the Tubataha Reef,
yung 6 days stay namin doon, actually, 2 days lang yung magandang panahon. Yung the last 4 days, medyo, what we did is magtago lang kasi masyado magalaw yung dagat.
So sir, pag ganun, ano po nangyayari kapag sobrang magalaw ang dagat?
Basically, hindi sila makapag-work doon on board Guardian. No? Kasi hampasin lang na alon yun. No? The existing wind right now is amihan. So even the divers cannot work. I think so, kasi nga medyo magalaw yung dagat noon, work. So we had to wait yung summer, March, the month of March, mag-start na yan, mag-settle down. During the diving season, I think it will start March.
For some, the USS Guardian atop the Tubataha Reef may be an added attraction, but for the TPAMB, the value of the marine species that are being destroyed each day is irreplaceable.
It's a novelty, oo. Well, in fact, sa natin added attractions, diba? Pero hindi siya nakakatuwa kasi nakita natin yung pwedeng mangyari pag nag-salvage sila. Lalaki pa ng lalaki lalo yung area of coverage. So, iiwasan yun di ba? Iiwasan ng mga dive operators. Alam mo yung para siyang araro doon sa ilalim, gumugulong-gulong siya doon sa at tinatamaan niya yung mga live corals.
International and local agencies like UNESCO and Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources have expressed intent to help in assessing the marine damage caused by the incident. But for the protectors of the reef, the nightmare brought by the grounding of the USS Guardian will only end once the ship is totally gone and when there will be an assurance that the protected area will be safe from intrusions of unwanted tourists. George Cahiles, Solar News, Puerto Princesa City, Palawan.
Abu Sayyaf has released the two Filipino crew of Jordanian journalist Baker Atiani on Saturday night. Cameraman Ramel Vela and audio technician Roland Letriro were allegedly left by the Abu Sayyaf during a gun battle with the members of the Moro National Liberation Front in Patikul, Sulu. The two were taken to a hospital in southern Sulu for medical checkup. Regional Police Chief Noel De Los Reyes says it is not yet clear how they were released, but disclosed that no ransom was paid in the process. Atiani and his team were abducted in June after reportedly meeting with militants for an interview. Atiani is believed to still be in the hands of the rebel group, as Malacanang says they are yet to receive reports on his whereabouts. And let's now have Carol Ramoran. She's reporting live from the Terminal 3 of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to give us details on the flight to Manila of the two freed crewmen. Hi, Carol. Good morning.
Amelin, we are here right now at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 3, where we are waiting for the arrival of the Filipino crew of Jordanian journalist Baker Atiani. Rolando Retrero and Ramelito Vela are expected to arrive at 8 via an Air Philippines flight with flight number 2P994. Retrero and Vela were recently released by the Abu Sayyaf after being held captive for about 8 months. However, Atiani remains as their hostage. The three were supposedly doing a story on the terrorist group. After their release, they were found in a hotel and the two were brought by authorities to Camp Navarro Hospital in Zamboanga City. Retrero and Vela both registered good vital signs when they were examined at the hospital. Vera, however, is having back pain and could hardly walk. A day after they freed the two Filipino captives, Abu Sayyaf gunmen clashed on Sunday with rival group Moro National Liberation Front. Officials said that an undetermined number of gunmen were killed in the fighting that erupted in Patikul, Sulu, where the Abu Sayyaf released Retrero and Vela. 7 were reportedly killed from the MNLF side and 13 from the Abu Sayyaf group. Combined PNP and AFP forces have cordoned the area to be sure that there would be no spillover. Back to you, Amelin. Jing.
Thanks, Carol.
The Social Welfare Department has launched their Bawal ang Epal Dito drive. This aims to dissociate the conditional cash transfer program from politics during the campaign period. We now have in the studio DSWD Deputy Managing Director Wadel Cabrera for Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program to tell us more about the campaign. Director, good morning.
Good morning.
What is Bawal ang Epal Dito?
Basically, this is a campaign of the program by the Department of Social Welfare and Development meant to protect our beneficiaries from undue politicking. We know that the campaign season is upon us. We will be electing local and national officials, and several program activities are actually vulnerable to politicking. These are the cash payouts, family development sessions that are conducted on a monthly basis, and we want to insulate our beneficiaries from people who want to leverage patronage and gains from the program.
Okay, in the cash payouts, what's the role of local politicians?
Actually, there is none,
okay.
Except that these are opportunities or occasions where people converge. You can imagine in a municipality, for example, there are thousands, tens of thousands of beneficiaries, and there are several modes of payment, primary of which is through the cash cards through the land bank, where beneficiaries would have to line up. And there are several of them. You can just imagine the length of time that is used up while they are lining
so
up.
there's a
to
captured
use
market
the ATM,
for
yes.
the local
And
politicians.
yes. Apart from that, there are also over-the-counter payments where payments are made in public gymnasiums, other such kinds of venues where people really converge.
Like how many people are we talking about? Whenever there's a payout, for example, in a municipality or town.
You have to understand that at present, there are 3.8 million household beneficiaries already spread across 79 provinces. At any given time, there are hundreds, even thousands of beneficiaries. In one municipality where there are a lot of poor households, it could reach up to a little under 10,000 households.
How often is the payout made?
The payout happens once every 2 months. The households are monitored for compliance for 2 months, and so the payout happens a little thereafter.
And when is the payout? Is there a payout period within the campaign period?
We are trying to beat the ban that's imposed by COMELEC. The local campaign period begins on March 29. We are hoping that we will be able to complete payouts before then, so that we don't open ourselves unnecessarily to all of this.
Okay, so when you pay out before March 29, then the next payout is going to be after the election.
It's going to be after elections already.
What about the family development sessions?
Family development sessions are held monthly.
Okay.
These are part of the conditions of the program.
Receiving the payout.
Yes.
Okay.
This is part of the health grant. It's all or nothing, actually. They have to bring their children for immunization, for weight monitoring, for pre- and postnatal checkup, and attend the monthly family development session. These are sessions that are organized and conducted by our municipal links and even by our partners on matters such as responsible parenthood, planning their family finances, understanding conditions of the program, and this happens on a monthly basis. And there are 30 parent leaders that attend each session, and all of them have to go through this on a monthly basis.
And how many people are involved in one session, for example?
In one session, there would be roughly about 30 parent leaders or 30.
With their families?
Yes, with their families. And it depends on the session. Sometimes their husbands would have to go along with them.
And this is, again, target for local politicians, the gathering.
It's a
Has
natural.
it happened before?
In some occasions, we've received reports where politicians would provide snacks and things like that.
Is that allowed?
Well, we cannot prevent them. The truth of the matter is they are actually their constituents. They can very well provide these kinds of other services apart from ensuring security and all those.
Right. They can very well say, since they're all gathered here, it's a good time to serve them.
Something as subtle as that, but there have been reports where during these sessions there are tarpaulins of local politicians saying that they are responsible for bringing in the program to their municipality, and that messages of thank yous and all.
And when you see these reports, what do you do?
Well, we report them to the DILG for proper action. And if you remember, sometime middle of last year, the late Secretary Jesse Robredo issued a memorandum circular preventing politicians from having their names and their faces on program-related activities.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for coming to the studio. Nice to know that there's this campaign.
Our pleasure.
Director Cabrera, thanks for joining us. Let's go back to Pia Bonalo. She's in a car accessory shop in Quezon City to share with us ideas about customizing your cars. Hi, Pia.
Jing, if you're already getting tired of how your car looks like and want to give it an extra oomph to make it reflect your personality, why don't you go here to Atoy Customs where you could have your car customized? With me as Sales Executive Tonton Liabit to tell us all about it. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Can you tell me, ano bang mga pwede kong magawa sa car ko na idagdag to make it customized?
Basically, ang mga pwede mong gawin sa mga sa kotse mo is you put body kit. That's our specialty kasi, we put body kit. So, what we did here, do you want me to show you the Yeah. We could put like add-on kits, palit ng bumper, and then kung gusto mong medyo iba yung look ng hood mo, we could also change the hood. And then, yun.
For those na parang mga business owners who are interested naman in making their cars like a walking advertisement of their brand or whatever business that they have, meron din ba kayong pwedeng gawin for them?
Meron din. Parang katulad sa isa nating ginawa, meron kami isang mini na kotse na parang wala lang siya magawa. Chin-up namin yung roof namin, yung roof nila, and then we put a big bottle. So anything out of the box na advertisement we can do.
And then those naman na gusto talaga nila na yung sasakyan nila, lagyan nila, for example, like that popular show that was airing before. Gusto nila kunwari yung sasakyan nila, there's a DVD player, like a ref. Can you also do that for them?
Of course, we can do. Interior, exterior, painting, graphics, mags, what else? Pretty much anything. Basta, kumbaga yung tagline nga namin you imagine, we create. Yan.
Wow, so for those of you na gusto talaga ng ibang klaseng creation for your cars, I can see right here. Can you tell me what this car is and what you did with it?
So this is a Hyundai Genesis. What we did is we changed the hood, we changed the bumper, we put some aftermarket bucket seats, we put mags, what else? Suspension. So basically, straight from the casa rin to, dinala agad sa amin para ipagawa agad.
And makikita mo talaga, like, you could see that what it looks like is very different from all of course, the Genesis coupes that you see running along EDSA. Does it also improve the car's performance? Mas mabilis ba yung takbo ng auto mo pag ganyan?
Ang mga naisip ng mga tao, pag naglagay ka ng body kit, parang forma lang, mababa, ang hirap i-drive, pero may function din siya. Parang, so, pag may body kit ka, so it makes your car look lower. But yung pinaka-function nun is that mas walang air drag sa ilalim. So you get better handling.
Okay. So it's not all for show. Meron ka ring makukuhang benefits when you're driving it. And syempre, maganda ka tignan while driving it. And can you tell me about this car? It's very interesting. It's a small car, but I don't think I've seen anything like it.
Yes, this car is pretty much an exotic car. It's a Suzuki Cappuccino. I think there's only 2 in the Philippines here. So syempre, para maiba pa tayo, yan, nilagyan namin ng mga flarings, pintura, of course, Concept 1 mags para to give you better handling, interior, and that's pretty much it.
And then last but not the least, of course, if you buy a Camaro, you already know na you're really into cars and you really want it for the speed or anything like that. But this one, bumili na siya ng Camaro, pinaset up pa niya. What are the things that you did with this one naman?
So what we did this one is that yung client ko pumunta dito with a picture. Okay. Sir, Ton, baka pwede mong gayahin tong bumper na to sa kotse ko kasi gusto ko. I cannot buy over the counter So, ayun, ginawa namin. From scratch, ginawa namin hanggat sa naging mukhang yung gusto na niya.
Doon naman, na-interested ako what you were telling me about the mags. Yung iba, di ba, nagpapapalit sila ng mags na sasakyan. What does it actually do? Is it only pure aesthetics also?
Ang mags naman kasi, the bigger inch and the wider tires that you install, you have better traction sa daan. So, ayun.
Okay, I'm sure a lot of the car enthusiasts out there are really itching to have their cars customized. Can you tell them where they can find you and how they can reach you?
You can reach us through our website. It's www.atoycustoms.com. You can call us at 411-5858. And then visit our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/a-toy body kits. And then you can see our updates there. We have mga bagong kotse na ginagawa namin meron doon.
Okay, I'm sure a lot of you are really interested. Go check out their Facebook page. If you want a new car with your old car, give it a new look, go here to A-Toy Customs. Jing, Emeline?
Thanks, Pia.
Let's again get the traffic situation from Katrina Domingo. She's along C5 Kalayaan. Hi, Katrina. Good morning.
Amelin, it's a warm Monday morning here at C5. The sun is shining brightly in the sky, but on the road, red taillights are the things that greet motorists who are plying this route. What you see on the right side of the screen is the northbound lane of C5. It's a bumper-to-bumper zone starting from Market in Taguig until Bagong Ilog in Pasig. Further north, school zones Ateneo and Miriam are also expected to get heavy in a few minutes as students will be dropped off for their classes. As for C5 southbound, which is on the left side of your screen, traffic situation is worse. Congestion starts at Xavierville in Quezon City, and this kind of slow movement is experienced from Aurora Boulevard in Quezon City to Market in Taguig. Meantime, traffic in EDSA northbound remains light to moderate, but EDSA southbound is a disaster. It's already congested starting at Quezon Avenue, and this heavy flow along with a lot of lane cutting and honking will drag on until Buendia in Makati. So traffic around the metro is pretty bad news this morning. So to give you some good vibes, here's our car tip for the day. Quick accelerations might get you off the line faster, but it can empty your gas tank faster as well. Study shows that car engines consume the most fuel when accelerating from a full stop. And the same science applies when your car is running fast and you suddenly step hard on the brakes. If you do these car faults often, your fuel economy can drop to as much as 33%. So practice to accelerate moderately and take it easy when hitting those brakes. And remember, it doesn't hurt to always be extra careful when you're on the road. Jing, Amelin.
Thanks, Kat. Let's again. And let's again have Pat Fernandez. She's at the Solar Weather Center to give us the latest on the weather in cities across the globe. Hi again, Pat.
Hello again, Amelin. Now let's check the weather in cities across the globe on the first Monday of February. Starting off in Asia, Tokyo will be drizzly today and cloudy tomorrow, while Beijing will experience fine weather. Just watch out for the -8 degrees Celsius minimum. And in Shanghai, it will be rainy today and tomorrow. Moving on in Bangkok, they will experience some thunderstorms today and tomorrow, while in Hong Kong, it will be drizzly today and foggy tomorrow. In Taipei, it will be cloudy today. And in the Middle East, you'll see Dubai will be partly cloudy tomorrow, but it will be cloudier today. Fine weather will be experienced in Baghdad, and it will be partly cloudy tomorrow. And in Paris, in Europe, they will experience some drizzles today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, in Sydney Down Under, they will have occasional drizzles today and tomorrow. And in Rome, it will be rainy today and tomorrow. In New York, in the United States, they will have to muster some snow with a -6 degrees Celsius minimum. And that's the latest on the weather this morning. For more news and information, visit www.solarnews.ph. Enjoy the rest of your work week and keep it bright here on Solar. Back to you, Amelin and Jing.
Thank you, Pat.
And that's our Solar Daybreak for today. Join us again tomorrow for a fresh look at the big stories.
You can also send us your comments and early morning photos at solardaybreak@gmail.com.
This is Solar Daybreak on the Solar News Channel. Magandang umaga po. Salamat.